Women, ever feel frustrated that you're not being chosen by a high value man? Just so you know, they're not withholding commitment from you. They're protecting their legacy from you. More on what a high value man is looking for coming up. This one's really gonna piss off feminists and other low value women. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my freedom loving friend. This is where we help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth conquers. Now here's some truth for you. A lot of women out there, they want a high value man. We'll define that in just a second, but they get frustrated they can't find a high value man. Just all these losers want to date me. Why don't the high value men want to date me and form a relationship? Well, because you're not the kind of woman worthwhile to a high value man. Now, I came across an absolute mic drop of a post. You can see it here by Cody Jefferson. Here's his Instagram. I read this and it's just like, this says it from a high value man's perspective. If I can nominate myself as one, I'm either a high value man or I'm a narcissist. You can be the judge. So I want to go through this with you because I think a lot of women genuinely want to find a high value man, yet don't know how to match that. And therefore just feel as though they're frustrated. Why am I not being chosen? Maybe they feel entitled. But the truth is, women, you need to step into being a good match for a high value man. And I thought this is worthwhile to share for men as well. Because a lot of men out there consider themselves high value men, and they're not. There needs to be radical integrity with the principles of being a high value man. And I think we should all be humble enough to admit when we're not that, instead of just, yeah, I'm a high value man. Yeah, I know what I stand for. So I think men can aspire by the principles in what we're going to go through, and women, same for you if you want a high value man. If you're looking for a loser man, might I suggest you indoctrinate yourself with feminism. Feminism teaches women to degrade men, demand men be the opposite of a high value man, just so the feminists can feel more significant because they make the man insignificant. They both deserve each other. Now, before we get into this, let's define what a high value man is. We'll check out what an article says in just a second, but my rough definition of what a high value man is it's a man who knows what he stands for. He can protect, he can provide, he's respected, he has social status through respect, not necessarily fame. In fact, you can be very famous and have no respect and therefore be a very low value man. So a high value man tends to be successful, tends to be a positive contributor to the world around him, and he's very loyal, knows what he stands for, and will compromise what he stands for absolutely nothing, including a woman. So let's check this out. What does it mean to be a high value man? Go through this real quick, and there's a male perspective on it and a female perspective on it. It's the same thing, just seen through a female lens and a male lens. We'll look at both. Guess what? They're not the same because men and women aren't the same. So a male perspective on being a high value man. Purpose and goals. Historically, successful men have been those with a strong sense of direction. Then they go on and list these stupid historical figures. But purpose and goals. Historically, successful men have been those with a strong sense of direction. Got it. You know what you stand for and you go after it. By the way, knowing what you stand for and living in integrity with that, I think is worth saying. Work and financial success. The ability to generate wealth and stability has been a key measure of a man's value. Footnote on that. On the Modern Wisdom podcast, they were talking about something like this, and they talked about like the value that women see in men. It's not, on this note, it's not necessarily, he's achieved a lot of success, like he's earned a lot of money, but a woman seeing the potential in a man, like, oh, he has high earning success, that's also very valuable. In other words, you don't have to wait till you're 60 years old and proven to be a high value man. Next, self-discipline and character. History has shown that men who have reached great heights have been those with strong self-discipline. Basically, You're able to control yourself. You can control your actions. And a high value man has emotions, but is not controlled by his emotions. Leadership and confidence. High value leaders are visionaries and possess the ability to guide others. Pretty self-explanatory. Physical condition and health. Let's not forget these. Physical well-being also plays an important role in the perception of male value. Historically, warriors and athletes have been admired for their strength and endurance. And by the way, physical condition and health, that is very intertwined with self-discipline. If you're checking a lot of high value man stats, but you're 350 pounds, you're literally wearing your decisions of a lack of self-control, lack of self-discipline through the degeneration of your physical condition. And finally, ability to provide and protect. A high-value man takes on the responsibility of caring for his family and environment. Now, real quick, the female perspective before we get to the mic drop of a post. The female perspective on high value man. Confidence and security. Women are often attracted to men who show confidence in themselves and their path in life. Again, just because it's funny. Think of what a feminist wants in a man. Just like a coward who bows down. Like they literally want the opposite of a high value man. Lack of self-confidence and insecurity. Emotional intelligence. The ability to communicate effectively, understand emotions, and be empathetic is highly valued by women. Commitment and loyalty. Stability and reliability in a relationship are fundamental aspects. So again, those are traits that a high-value man displays that women see and apparently like. Protection and leadership, not only in a physical sense, but also in decision-making and life guidance. Ability to inspire. A man who encourages his partner to grow and improve is seen as someone with significant value. So let's check out this post by Cody Jefferson. And again, he wrote this for women to help them understand this is what a high value man is looking for, and this is what he's not looking for. So it can inspire women to essentially better themselves and align themselves internally so they're in good alignment with a high value man. And again, men, we can take this and learn to up-level ourselves. Like, these are what high-value men are looking for. I can aspire to up-level how I am to match this. So it starts off, you say you want a high-value man, then step into the kind of woman he would never question choosing. Ooh, shots fired. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first I want to tell you about something in my health practice that I absolutely never miss, and that's taking my grass-fed beef liver by Ancestral Supplements every single day. Why? Because having a slow metabolism, low energy, and mental fog are my primary enemies in life. Beef liver is considered nature's multivitamin for a reason. It gives you most of the daily vitamins and minerals that you need, like vitamin A, B12, K, and iron. And because it comes in the form of real food, beef liver, your body can absorb 85% more of that nutrition than if it came from some synthetic pill. And personally, I've known about the immense value of beef liver for a long time, but my problem was I didn't like eating liver. Didn't like the taste of it. Plus, it's a pain in the butt to cook liver. However, Ancestral Supplements solved that problem for me with their grass-fed beef liver. Now I quickly and easily get all the benefits of nature's multivitamin without the hassle of cooking or, quite frankly, the taste. I love the grass-fed beef liver because it keeps my metabolism fast, energy high, mind sharp, and my cravings for crap low. If you want to conquer low energy, bring grass-fed beef liver into your life. Go to ancestralsupplements.com/JPReacts, and for 15% off, use discount code JPReacts. Now back to the video. You want a man who is built, focused, faithful, financially stable, emotionally intelligent, spiritually grounded, fiercely protective, bold in vision, gentle in love. But who exactly are you becoming in the meantime? Who are you becoming, woman? A man like that doesn't need to settle. That's a bit of a mic drop right there. A high-value man doesn't need to settle. He knows what his values are. And I think the principal thing I've learned in relationships is know my values. And then in a partner, there has to be value alignment. And you don't have to settle for anything less than that. He's forged through fire. He's led himself when no one else was watching. I love that, by the way. How you do anything is how you do everything. I've become a big fan of, like, when nobody's watching, do I still pick up the piece of trash when I'm walking on the side of the road? When I love working out when my son's present, so I can just show him daddy works hard. I want to instill that in him. Daddy works hard. Daddy pushes through pain. Will I push myself just as hard in the workout when he's not there, or I'm not working out with a friend? In other words, he's led himself when no one else is watching. He's fought addictions, silence, fear, and failure, and built discipline, direction, and dominion. He's not hard to love. He's hard to access because his standard is sacred. He's not looking for a critic. He's looking for a caliber of woman who understands what it costs to build something that lasts. So, by the way, one of the biggest death blows to any relationship is criticism coming from a man or a woman. And this is just saying a high-value man, he's not looking to be criticized. No, that's not his method of connection. When he's building, he doesn't need chaos. He needs clarity. He doesn't need to be worshipped. He needs to be understood. By the way, if a guy needs to be worshipped, he's not a high-value man. He's an insecure man. A man of vision. A soft place to land, not a sharp tongue. A woman who prays in private, not just posts in public. A spirit of patience, not pressure. A home that multiplies peace, not demands perfection. Beauty might attract him, but character is what makes him stay. Woo! He's built a life of peace and he'll protect it with everything. By the way, so just highlighting that, he's built a life of peace and he's building a legacy and he'll protect it with everything, including it, like I said earlier, including protecting it from you. If you start becoming a predator to a high value man's peace, his legacy, his work, his vision, his mission, guess what? He needs to protect it from you. The quickest way to get a high value man to be disinterested in you. You say you want a man who leads, then understand what that actually means. Because leadership doesn't always look like love songs and long talks. Sometimes it looks like him saying no to things that feel good in the moment to protect what matters long term. Sometimes it looks like seasons of grind, silence, and sacrifice, where he's not less present because he loves you less, but because he's carrying more than you know. He's not withholding commitment, he's protecting legacy. He's watched men lose everything in courtrooms to women who stopped praying and started punishing. So yes, he's going to test your character, not because he's paranoid, but because his purpose has a cost. Oversimplifying, what that's saying is, high-value man is looking for a woman who behaves like an adult, not a child. And I'm sure a high-value woman is looking for the same thing in a man as a match. So this is a call. Like, we all have our childhood triggers, but can you control them and deal with them rather than just project them out regularly as your modus operandi? Because if that's what you do, you'll turn into a punisher. But if you can act like an adult, by the way, you can't act like you can act like an adult. You have to be aligned inside. You have to do your inner work so that you can actually act like an adult. You can't fake it much longer than the infatuation phase in a relationship. Then the inner child comes out if you haven't dealt with it. And by the way, a high value man, what I'm saying is, needs a woman who knows how to deal with her stuff rather than barfing it all over him. And again, I would expect the same, what a high value woman would need from a man. So yes, he's going to test your character, not because he's paranoid, but because his purpose has a cost. He's not afraid to love. He's afraid to build with someone who doesn't understand the blueprint. The man you're praying for, he's not looking to be saved. He's not looking to be mothered. He's not looking to be impressed. He's watching. Can you build peace in the house he provides? Can you carry joy when his vision is still unfolding? Can you honor the weight he carries even when it doesn't look like the life you imagined yet? Proverbs 31 isn't a Pinterest quote, it's a spiritual assignment. I wish I had Proverbs 31 memorized. I don't. He doesn't need loud, he needs loyal. He doesn't need performance, he needs presence. He needs a woman who sees him clearly, not for what he gives her, but for what he's becoming. Because his calling isn't light, and he can't carry it next to someone who makes him feel like too much. So ask yourself, can you handle a man who disappears into strategy sometimes, not because he's distant, but because he's designing a life where you and your children can thrive? Can you carry peace when the peace is heavy? Can you trust his presence in the process, even when he's not performing for your attention? Because yes, he's building, but not just for business, for family, for freedom, for future generations. Vision has seasons, but you'll never be second because the mission is you. A man of vision, a man of God. He's not hoping to be chosen. He's watching to see if you've been prepared, not just in body, but in peace, in wisdom, and alignment. When he finds you, he's not asking, is she beautiful? Respectfully, that's assumed. A man who takes care of himself desires the same. He's asking, can I trust her with my name, my children, my calling? You don't attract a man like this by chance. You match him by who you've become. He's not the prize, and neither are you. The prize is the legacy you build together. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that would actually be challenging for many women to take on. It would take so much surrender. In other words, it would take a woman like really being in her feminine, surrendering to like, yes, I'm not going to fight any of this. I'm going to align with this. I'm going to trust. I'm going to have faith, while having the acute eye of discernment to recognize, is this guy who presents as a high value man really a high value man? Women absolutely need to discern that for themselves. So I'm not going to pretend like it would be easy for a woman to become what a high value man is looking for. But based on what I know, that is what a high value man is looking for. And who's doing the looking? Men, as we listen to this, are we aligned with this? Do we have the self-discipline? Do we have the leadership? Do we take care of ourselves inside out? Do we know what we stand for? Will we compromise that for nobody? In other words, are we aligned with actually being a high value man? That's why I think men and women can learn a lot from this. And by the way, I would love to see a high value woman write the reciprocal kind of post. What a high value woman is looking for. For men out there, it's like, I can't find like a great woman. I'd love to see a woman, and maybe, I'm sure it's out there. I'd love to see the reciprocal post written from a high-value woman's perspective. Nonetheless, I got excited when I saw this. I wanted to go through this with you in this video. Let me know what you think, whether you agree, disagree with some or all of this, what you valued most about it in the comments below. I look forward to reading what your thoughts are, and I look forward to seeing you on our next video. But until then, stay valuable.